Well, typical, because you'll believe anything. Newsmax is on the important stories here. There's a lot that Tim Walz has covered up in his record. I mean, man, he wasn't the coach of that national or state championship football team. He was the assistant coach. Okay,
he was merely the defensive coordinator. Which is like,
I mean,
I'm sorry that you could that's a coach. That's a coach. You coached a football team to a state championship. If you're even the linebackers coach, which he was prior to being defensive coordinator, I'd still say you coached a team to the state championship. Now, whether that's a head coach, defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator, for my mind, are basically as important as a head coach.
Yes.
No, Matt, when you win a championship, only one guy gets a ring.
Only one guy gets to call himself coach.
That's right.
Everybody else, if you don't say that you're an assistant coach, again, it's disqualifying for the vice presidency. You know what else is disqualifying? Dog lies. Here we go. This is how two different Newsmax hosts ended their segment about Tim Walz and his dog. They wanted to get this out there, just a little bit of fan service to have people to look out for this story. And we'll tell you what this big lie was after we hear from these guys. This is Rob Finnerty, and then next the other Rob Schmidt.
By the way, did you hear Tim Walz with the dog situation on Dog Day a day ago?
Two scouts.
two different dogs. They both have the same name. I don't think he's got a dog.
It's like he's the George Foreman of dogs.
That's good. I like that. All right, gentlemen. Thank you. Appreciate it. Doug Collins, Jack Kingston. Lots more. By the way,
I don't know what the George Foreman of dogs means.
What's the George Foreman thing mean?
Let's let them craft this argument here. This is another Tim Walz segment. Another Newsmax segment. Did Tim Walz lie about his dog?
And just a few months later, somebody discovered another tweet about another dog named Scout. Except it's a totally different dog. So which one's Scout? The campaign had no answer for us.
All right, pause this.
What happened?
See the dog named Scout on there. I want that screen grab up for it. Keep this up. This is the evidence that Newsmax is showing us. Tim Walz there with Scout. They word search Scout. Good job, Newsmax producers.
This is a crack investigative team here.
In I guess that's 2022. So the same year, you see Scout, black dog. On the right, beige dog, where he says that he has gone to the dog park and Scout
And let's just give the full
himself.
quote here. The first one says, sending a special birthday shout out to our favorite pup, Scout. And there he is with the black dog. And the next one, couldn't think of a better way to spend a beautiful fall day than at the dog park. I know Scout enjoyed it.
The dog park where notably, famously, no other dogs congregate.
Well, okay, so that's the thing is the Hollywood elites just have a Rolodex of crisis actors. I mean, actors.
Even including crisis dog actors.
Exactly. And they must have just not done their due diligence, and they forgot the color for Scout.
I mean, I would say get the breed right. How hard is it to get another black lab?
And how do we know that that a governor from a neighboring state didn't come over in between the two Scout photographs and assassinated the first Scout, and then they got Scout 2.0?
Are we sure this
is
isn't
Mulligan Scout?
Are we sure this isn't a looper or a replicant situation? Are we sure that's even the same Tim Walz?
We're not sure about the multiverse element of this, and I think that Newsmax should look into it. But there is a little bit of a hiccup in their thesis. This is the video that was accompanying that photo, where you can see.
Are you jealous now?
Scout. Okay.
Okay, so
there's the other dog he photographed himself with, who was not Scout. But I don't know.
Well, so probably they posted that one because it was a nice picture of Tim Walz with the dog, and he did actually have fun with Scout,
who just was not photographed.
Yeah, but was in the video.
I own two dogs. I'm actually wearing a shirt of one of my dogs right now,
Rosie.
So I'm familiar with barking patterns of dogs, and that dog was barking in Mandarin too. That's another confounding factor here, because we know how much of a cynophile
He does.
Tim Walz is, because he loves China so much.
They call him CCP Walz.
Yeah, so it's interesting that we'd hear some Chinese dialect from that dog.
We know what this is, right, though? This is that same Republican thing where, like, Melania just copies Michelle Obama's speeches and stuff. This is, they sunk Kristi Noem with the dog thing, or actually Kristi Noem kind of sunk herself with it. We need to do something on the dog front, because clearly that's what works, because that's literally all the only way these people can think like normal humans is to sort of replicate something they've seen normal humans do.
And apparently, though, this is from Minnesota reporters. They were saying that they're doing the same thing where they're just recycling ops that were used by the Minnesota Republicans when he was running for governor and trying to take them national. And you could just see how weak they are there as well.
Well, it's tough with Tony Lazzaro in prison. Google Tony Lazzaro St. Thomas Republicans if you need a little background on what kind of party you're dealing with the Minnesota Republicans.
Absolutely. Vegetable Sauce says, how can Walz and or his dog exist in both the past and the present? Liar. It is odd that we're witnessing that photo and video in the present when you think about it.
Hi, folks. Hey, you've heard me criticize how the mainstream media across the political spectrum either fails to report on important stories or prioritizes their own bias over balanced and comprehensive news coverage. Well, that's why I use Ground News as a solution on a daily basis. Longtime sponsors gather related news and add important context so you can understand how each outlet reports on it and maybe sometimes skews the facts. This, and being so close to the presidential election, you're going to see rhetoric against Harris and Tim Walz is only going to intensify. So I can't recommend enough that you check out Ground News's election page. My Vantage plan gets me access to their election-focused blind spot feed and diverse perspectives on each candidate so I can find the truth on who they really are, not just hear the loudest, most biased opinions. And areas where, frankly, the left or the right is not covering. For each story you read on their platform, you're going to find article Ground News found reporting on it, as well as tags to the next source indicating if they're independently owned or not, how credible their reporting is, and if they have any political bias one way or another, making it really easy to critically analyze different perspectives and come to your own conclusions. Their mission aligns so much with what we try to do on this show. We try and make you more media literate. So I can't recommend enough going to ground.news/majority or scanning my QR code to subscribe. Ground News is independent and subscriber supported. My viewers, however, will save 40% on the same Vantage plan that I use for unlimited access to all their features on a daily basis. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.